started the live. I just want to see myself. All right, you can let me know. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. We're here with Dropping Gems once again. I would say a friend of the program, someone who I've worked with a lot in my career up until this point. She's going to be telling us about maneuvering in the industry. Something important that we hear about a lot is networking and building relationships. But Bianca's going to show us how to do that the right way. So please be active in the chat. If you have any questions, you can find us on Instagram at The Cool Table Live, on YouTube at The Cool Table Live, and most importantly, enjoy.
Thank you. Hey guys, so my name is Bianca Horne and I will show you how to maneuver the entertainment industry. I come from a background of fashion, music, and sports, so I'm going to give you tips and tricks that I used that got me through these 3 different levels of entertainment. So let's get started. Please hit up the chat with questions. I will answer them all at the end. Perfect. So this is our agenda. This is how we're going to be going for the day. So first we're going to do introductions. Who are you? Understanding your environment, industries, key takeaways, and then questions. So for myself, my name is Bianca Horne. I worked for MLSE. I still work there now. I also am hi, how are you? We have some visitors. I'm also an artist manager. I also do freelance and live events. So I'm going to show you how I've maneuvered my way through the industry as a freelancer, also working for a corporation, also being an artist manager. Okay, so who am I? So VIP Hospitality, I work for MLSE as a VIP host. And what we do is we provide premium service at all levels at all of our venues. So that's one of the ways I've gotten here. How I got here, through my freelancing and live events. I use my tips here to get me here as well. I also was an artist manager. I'm 3 artists, Bob, Layla Day, Boy Pape, and Baby Markey. Please check them out. Gang, gang. They're amazing artists, and being an artist manager, you have to learn how to balance. You are also doing day-to-day, a lot of day-to-day, and also you're looking for new business and also closing deals, opening deals, finding deals, and always having your ear to the ground. And then creative direction. This I've used in Compass with my live events and also with artist management, and with this it's more helping creatives find ways to pull those creative ideas and also find ways to execute them and how to get them out that it flows effortlessly through social media, through a music video, through a song, through an event. Just how can we tie and intertwine everything creatively so it looks like a perfect picture. Okay, so who are you? So one thing I've found with being in entertainment is a lot of it is who you are. I think sometimes people think when we work in entertainment, we have to basically bend to who we are and also play into what roles we work in, where we are in entertainment, but I feel like everything you can always add a piece of yourself to. So I always start like this for myself, even in situations where I'm like confused by them or if I'm not certain of what I want to do, I always start with who do I want to be? What do I want to say? Who do I want to be? How am I being that person? Like, what do I want to say for this moment? What do you want to say? Say it clearly. And with that, they worked in tandem. So like if I am a CEO of a company, how does that person sound? How does a CEO that I see it, what does that person say? You always want to think before you do these things and see if it always, I use these as my like anchorings. So when I'm not leveled and I need to be grounded, these are the two things I use to ground myself into what I want to do in the moment or how I want to maneuver in any situation. And then who are you now? Are you doing that now? Right now in this moment, are you doing that? And if you're not, how can you tweak that to be what you want it to be? And all these questions always go back to this first one. So how can I get there? Exactly what I said before. So if I'm not doing what I need to do, then how can I make myself to be that CEO I want to be? How can I make myself be that friend I want to be? How can I make myself be that artist I want to be if I was an artist? It's always, what's the difference between these two places, and what am I doing and what am I not doing to get there? And am I living by it? And then finding the steps to align myself with that vision. Understanding your environments. This one's fun. This is a cool event I worked. It was a Christmas party and the theme was the cat. Her name was Julie. Very interesting party. So understanding your environments. I'm gonna be adding to a lot of this. So determining what you know. If this can go for problem solving, this can go for anything really. What do you know, and what you know, is it accurate? Not what you feel, what do you know? Facts are facts and you can't change them. So what do you know, and is it actually like that? If you don't know what you think you know, or what you think you know may not be right, research, 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 research. It never hurts to research. Perfect. Sorry, we have another visitor. Hi. So yeah, research. Always research. Do your Googles, is what I call it. And then who are the key players? So in any situation, even when you're making deals, who are the key players? Do I have access to the key players? If I don't, then okay, I know these are the key players, then I know how to maneuver if I'm in rooms with the key players. That could be from, you're looking for a new job in a company, but you want to network at an event. Well then, if you're going to an event, who do you think is going to be there? If that person's going to be there, then you know who's in the room. You know how you're walking around into this room. Always make the rooms that you're in know who you're talking to. Very common thing. Always know who you're talking to. And if you don't know, treat everyone then as you're talking to someone of a status, regardless of what it is. Can you guys see good? Okay, perfect. And then tell me if I'm going too fast. Okay, where am I? Key players, do you have access to them? What parts of the business do you know and do you not know? So this part for me, I know some people sometimes in business, they'll like to stick to what they know. If I'm an accountant, I just want to do numbers. I don't want to know about the marketing. If you're a singer, sometimes you just want to know about singing. Some people don't want to know about producing. Always learn. For me, I think always seek answers, always retain knowledge, always ask questions. What you don't know about the business and what you do know, always try to learn more. Learn, 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 learn. Even if it's nothing that has nothing to do with your role, believe me, it always helps you with hindsight for the business. And then my last thing, learn what you can and when you can. So learn from the ground up. So if you're running a shop, you want to learn from even the person that cleans your shop. You want to learn from the person that's serving at the cash. You want to learn everything that you can so that when you're making decisions, they're more sound versus someone who's just in the office making decisions and doesn't know that you need a certain type of paint to paint the wall because when you're doing certain parties, the way the sweat comes off of it, you can't use regular paint. You got to use a certain type of paint, but you would only know that if you knew the person that paints it. So just little tidbits like that, always find ways to learn. Like, the more you know about your business, the better you are. Always learn it from the ground up. It's a lot of hard work, and a lot of people don't want to do the hard work, but you can't skip it. And the more, actually, the more you do it, like, I honestly feel like that gets you so much further. It puts you ahead of the game past anyone. And then I'm flying through these. Industries. So I'm gonna go through the 3 different industries that I've worked in and things that I've found and tips that I used and just little key findings I had. Okay, so working in fashion. So I have worked for Toronto Fashion Week multiple times. I started off volunteering and then eventually I became a production manager. So I would deal with about 20 volunteers on my own across 3 different venues. And yeah, and then also within that, I started working the CAFA Awards, did it once or twice, did it this year as well as a backstage manager. So things I've learned in fashion. Fashion is first and foremost, authenticity is your thing. Like being yourself in fashion is like, this is how you move in the room. That's what they, like for me, fashion, that's what people pride themselves on, is being themselves. Being self-expressive, always expressing yourself in your clothes and the way you walk into a room. Those environments are very expressive and it doesn't let people shy away. I feel like they're more comfortable than some corporate settings. Pivoting. Pivoting is my thing. So pivoting for me in fashion, it could be something so simple as changing sets last minute, which happened to us a lot. Being able to always be on your toes, especially when you're dealing with creative people, is like a strong suit you need. Creatives change their mind like the wind, and honestly, if you don't know how to pivot, you're gonna really crumble. Pivoting is something you always need to have in your back pocket and be open to. Be open to things changing, be open to things not going the way. I say if you write a plan on paper, it's never gonna go as you write it. Always adjust and have plan Bs and backup plans somewhere. All accepting environments. So like I was saying before about being self-expressive, fashion is also very accepting. So you can go into that environment as you want to. If I wanted to wear an all yellow suit today and I wanted to walk around, fashion will just, they let you be yourself. And I love that. I never feel scared to be myself in those environments. Very limitless, very fearlessness, fast-paced. But the creation process may take longer. I will hear about people designing dresses for 6 months just for a fashion show that's probably about 30 seconds. But honestly, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's just the nature of the business. But those 30 seconds is like displaying your work, 1 minute and 30 seconds, but very fast paced, really going, and you gotta be on it. Relationships, you're gonna see that word a lot in my slide. Relationships. Just even who you're dealing with. Like for me being a production manager, I would also have to deal with the actual designer. I would also be dealing with back of house. I would also be dealing with the team that deals with the models. And I would have to be bouncing all around getting a lot of things done. So typical show, we do rehearsals, we make sure that goes well. Then if I'm flipping this building, I need to flip somewhere else as well. I have to talk to another team, pulling other people, and just using certain relationships help me store items where I didn't necessarily was allowed to store them because they knew me and they trusted me, they let me do it. And then fashion is all very inspiring and empowering as well. Sports. My favorite sports. So I worked for MLSE for a while. I started off in fan engagement and then I also went into customer service and now I currently work in their VIP hospitality team. I'm currently curating the VIP program at History with another team of mine. Hopefully some of you guys are on the live. Hello. But with MLSE and sports, I find it to be a bit more structured. Obviously MLSE is a corporation, so things are a bit more structured there, but I find this to be more of my corporate setting versus any other job I've had. With it though, there's a lot of moving parts. You'd be surprised all of the departments I have to touch sometimes in one night alone, from security, from ushers, from back of house, it gets crazy. So there's a lot of moving parts, but like going back to relationships, those relationships help you with these parts. If I have to take someone somewhere and I have to cut down a hallway, I need to tell security. If security knows me well enough, and I'm like, hey, I shouldn't be coming down here, but I need to go through this way, can you help me? They'll help you. It's just based on the relationships. Sometimes they don't do it for everyone, but relationships really help you when you have a lot of moving parts. People don't want to work with people they don't like, and they also don't want to help people that are just mean to them and not nice, or that just are hard to work with. And it's a give and take. Relationships are always give and take. You have to give sometimes, and you need to learn how to take and give. Like, you can't just always take and never give. It just won't work. You don't want people to be disgruntled about things. A lot of group projects, a lot of working with different groups. So that even goes back to relationships again. Like, you'll be working on one project to another. You'll be working with different departments that do different things, and everyone needs to make sure that their needs are met. I've learned that a lot this year working in history. I work with MLSE, but I also work with the Live Nation team and the history team. So I'm also working with 3 different departments and then myself as well. So a lot of balancing there. It's been really fun. Forecasting and foreseeing the goals. We work in a very larger timeline, depending on what it is. Like the Argos, I probably didn't think we'd be doing a party this week. So that was crazy. But a lot of forecasting and foreseeing the goals. So there's a lot of planning that goes into something. It doesn't just happen overnight. So like fashion, sometimes they take a while to do it, but the show is very short. But for us, our goals are we're very foreseeing. Like we're probably going to start planning soon for playoffs soon. If we start going. Those conversations they start very early versus being late. Relationships, and it's a marathon. I've been working jobs before where I didn't feel appreciated. I sometimes felt like I worked there for a while and people didn't notice me, but it's a marathon. You may be working hard sometimes if people don't notice you, but believe me, people notice eventually. You just gotta keep working. I know that sounds crazy, and sometimes it gets very hard to do, but sometimes you just gotta go harder and you just gotta keep working, but one day somebody will notice, and when they do, it pays off for everything you've done before. Hard work, longer rewards, and then being a team player. Team players. If you are not a team player in this environment, things will not go well for you and they will not go well for yourself. You need to learn when to step back. You need to learn when to be second. You need to learn to accommodate sometimes. Sometimes you can't have your way. Sometimes you just gotta do what's good for the business and just take your emotions out of it. And then attention to detail and hyper awareness. Seeing how I'm on the VIP team, we have a lot of attention to detail, whether it's members' names, just knowing how many members are coming in, if they have special events, like if it's someone's birthday coming in that night, what does someone like to drink sometimes, knowing that we have a certain bottle at the table, do we serve this wine? Little attention to details, they go a long way. Even just learning someone's name, it goes the distance. Where am I? Music. For music, so I went to school for music business, and then I was co-managing 3 artists with a friend of mine from school. So these are just key findings I've learned in the business, but also working with history. I also do still work within music, so it's kind of a bit of a balance. But it's a bit more relaxed environment. Sometimes I forget how corporate working in sports could be, or very structured, that when I go into music, sometimes I forget to just I can calm down a bit or relax. And it's a bit more fun. I like it a bit more. But relationships. Music is nothing without relationships. Literally, people get into rooms together with relationships. Who you know helps you a lot. If you could do the job, but you know someone, relationships. But they need to be genuine relationships. People think networking sometimes just means going to give someone a business card and then I'm emailing you about something to do for me. That's not how that works. You need to have a genuine relationship. So don't force anything. People do not want to work with people that feels forced, and people don't want to feel like everything's a selling. Learn to just sometimes be chill. I tell people sometimes you gotta treat it like the girl you want, but you don't want her to know you want her. So you gotta kind of tone it down a bit, but you do want her, but you're not gonna be thirsty about it. I know that's funny, but it's the easiest way for someone to think about it. But you just gotta, relationships, but make sure they're genuine. And that way, even it's like a give and take as well. So then I'm gonna wanna do stuff for you and help you out because I genuinely like you and we have a relationship going, versus you're asking me for stuff, because then you become the person that's just always asking. And nobody wants to deal with that. Who are you? So back to my beginning slides. Be who you are in these spaces. Do not try to be the cool guy. Do not try to be the guy that knows everybody. If you don't know something, you don't know it. If you don't know a person, you don't know a person. If you haven't been around certain people, it's cool, it's fine. You don't need to be somebody you're not. These environments especially, just be yourself. If you like Pokemon, cool, you like Pokemon. Be the Pokemon guy and rock out with that. People will respect you more. Key players, once again, just knowing the key players in the room. And everything is big, small. Your name is your name. Live on your name and stand on it. Be a person of your word. Hold integrity. Your name goes very far. It goes further than you sometimes. Some people will hear of you before they even know you. And the last thing you want is your name to be tainted by something that's small or just something that's not of you. So always remember your name is your name. That's just anything in life. I live by that. My name is my name. It looks like a party, but it isn't. So within music, sometimes a lot of the events are really relaxed. People are drinking. It's not a party. If you're there to network, but just remember it's not a party. Be strategic about it. Don't be the guy who's getting drunk. Don't be the loose guy. You don't want to be that. So it looks like a party, but know how to still have fun, but keep it professional. A lot of helping each other. So like I said before, relationships and everyone helping each other, they go hand in hand. It's a business at the end of the day. Music is fun, but it is business. So there is business that comes out of it. Making music is fun sometimes. Being in studio sessions is cool and all, but we still have to remember, at the end of the day, this is all done for business. So how can we use these tools and these things that we're creating and making as a business tool? What is the next business leverage? Which way is the business going? With TikTok and social media, with streaming, what's the next steps? So always have that in the back of your mind. And then you need a team. This is just even with any artist. I feel like to take things to a next level, you need a team. You can't do nothing by yourself in this industry. You need a team and you need people. There's no way you can just walk through this industry by yourself. Relationships. I've been saying it so much. I should get it tatted. Your name is your name. I've said that already. Be who you want people to know you as. So back to my who are you? Who do I want to be? I want to be a kind person. I want to be someone who's patient. Then I need to be that, even when it's not easy to be that. And I want people to perceive that. So how do I come into a room? How am I greeting people? How am I speaking to people? What is my tone? How am I maneuvering? Like, I want people to know that I am a nice person. Well, then I need to behave as such. I can't just come in like an asshole and then think people are going to know that. I'm a good person, right? So who do I want to be and how do I want people to know that? Perception is everything. Genuine relationships, I went over that already. Nurturing those relationships. So because you meet someone, you guys are cool, check in on people. Check-ins are cool. Like, how's your day going? You don't need to check in on someone when you want something. Ask someone how they're doing. Sometimes that goes a long way. You'd be very surprised how people would really appreciate someone just being like, yo, how's your day? Are you good? I haven't heard from you in 4 months. And this is all genuine, like not just because you want something later. No, do it because you want to do it. Like, be a genuine person and genuine relationships. Take your time to get to know who you are and who you're talking to. So when you're in a room, take your time. Ask someone. It doesn't have to be always about, what do you do in this industry? What's your job? Where you at? Like, what do you do at Universal? Da, da, da. I just watched House of Dragons. Did you watch that? It's so simple. Like, you'd be surprised, little off-the-wall conversations or just off the cuss, has nothing to do about it, will take you further than me being sitting here with you and talking about rap for 5 hours, because they probably have those conversations all the time. Like, just little questions. Like, I actually love House of Dragons, by the way. Mad about the ending. I won't talk about that because people haven't watched it yet, but I'm really mad about it. But just simple things. You can always find one thing in common. That's my rule of thumb. That is always your leverage into a conversation, is one thing you have in common. We must have something in common, even if you think we don't. Whether it be we like the same socks. Your sneakers are dope. We probably have a nice sneaker obsession that we can sit and talk about sneakers. Just little things like that are always your leverage into conversations. I like your purple shirt you got going on there. Where'd you get it from? Right there is a conversation. And you use that as your leverage into a conversation to chat about something. And there's enough space for everyone. We can all be doing the same job. Promise you, we'll be doing it differently. But there's space for us. The way I do it, the way you do it are two different things, but we still do the same job. There's space for everyone everywhere. I think people don't understand this enough and stress this enough. Just because someone is already doing it, well, how do you do it your way? You are your own leverage. You are your leverage. Like, I know that sounds corny as hell, and I sound like an infomercial, but you are your own leverage. Like, the confidence in yourself, I don't think people notice it enough. That is your leverage into anything. What's for you is for you. The way Bianca does it is the way Bianca does it. The way you do it is the way you do it. No one's gonna take that from you. Consideration of others. Sometimes when you're very business focused or very goal driven, you forget about the incurrence of other people. Sometimes you need to be a little considerate of others. It's not always about the end goal sometimes. Sometimes it's like you don't want to damage a relationship or damage things around you to get to a goal. Sometimes it's like, well, how can I get there without having to incur these things? Sometimes it happens, but you don't want to be the person that's doing whatever it takes to get to what they want, and then you're just ruining everything else in the fold for it. And I think I'm almost done. My Starbucks cup, I don't have one today. I'm drinking Timmy's. I feel like a traitor. Key takeaways. Relationships, nurture them, be genuine, be a good person. And then learn everything about your business you can. Ground up, from the feet up, 10 toes down, Nipsey style. Every way up, like just whatever you can learn. Never stop learning. You don't know everything. And it's okay not to, please. Like CEOs will probably tell you, I don't know what this is. What is it? Teach it to me. It's fine. Always be a learner. Be authentic to yourself. So always be yourself. No matter what you do when you step into a space, you don't need to conform. Just be yourself. And even when you're given things that feel like you need to conform, find a way to make it you. Like when guys play basketball, do they all dribble the ball the same? No, they find it to make it themselves. The way you can make things yourself, that's like a next trick that if you learn to do that, you're golden. Create your value. I had a boss tell me this once. She was like, find what it is that you're good at and make that your value. Make yourself so indisposable when you go into a space that they cannot get rid of you. Create your value. And everyone has a value. And there's always space for you. So no matter what you're doing, there could be 10 people doing it, but there's always space for everyone. Everyone can eat, everyone can win. There's space for everyone in it. And then, thank you. And questions. I'll put my contact up so you guys can contact me later. But yeah, you guys have questions? No. I got my coffee.
What was the biggest challenge you faced when you were transitioning from sports to music?
Well, so the question is, what was the biggest challenge I faced transitioning from sports to music? So technically, I still work in both, funny enough. With working at MLSE, one thing I'm very happy about, they have their live side, so I got very lucky to be pulled into that. But to transition into it, I love sports, and they're very similar. They're very similar. There's a lot of similarities to them. Passion behind it, the experience behind it, but I am a music girl first. But what I did to even get into my role at History, I talked about what I wanted to do. I told my managers what I wanted to do. I made it very clear, like, I love sports, but I want to do music as well. But transitioning into both, they are very similar, but they're also very different. And sometimes, like I was saying before, it's a very hard balancing act. Sports is very structured, sometimes very formatted, and then sometimes music can be very loose and very just cool, calm. So it's having to find that balance, but they're very similar in the same sense. Like, especially dealing with people, even the casual person or casual fan, it's an experience at the end of the day. It's just another way of doing it. Sports brings people together, music does the same. They're just different lanes of doing the same thing. I guess I looked at them the same way, and I found the similarities, and I used that as like the way to work in them. But they're not that much different. No problem. Do you have questions?
Thank you for letting us speakers as an example. I appreciate it.
No, they're fire though. No problem.
So I'm gonna talk to B and kind of round out her presentation.
What up?
There's some things that she talked about that I felt like we should probably talk about a bit more.
Okay.
The last thing you said about being yourself, I thought was huge, because even myself, getting into industry, I dress different at events than I did with my friends.
Yeah.
I dress different at work than I did, certain things. So was there a moment with you where you realized I can just be myself?
Yes. A lot of people that work with me will tell you that I'm very serious. They think I don't they either think I party too much or that I'm too serious. Like, one girl I worked with was like, I don't really know much about you. And it kind of threw me for a loop, because I'm like, what? Because she treats me like I'm so serious. But when she got to work with me more, she understood that I'm pretty chill, I'm pretty lax. But I have to tell myself too sometimes, okay, calm down. I'm overthinking it. I'm an overthinker. I overthought this presentation. I overthink everything. People who know me well will tell you. They can put it in the chat. Like, if you know me, let them know I overthink everything. I'm always thinking too much to turn my brain off. But something you just gotta remember. Like, I remember I got a promotion for something, and someone had told me, like, you're getting it for a reason. Don't feel like you don't deserve it. And that stuff stuck with me. Like, I always forget sometimes that I'm doing things and I'd be like, I don't really deserve this. Like, why am I here? And I have to remember, like, no, there's a reason why you're in this room. You deserve it. You earn it. Thrive in it. You deserve to be in this room as much as anybody else does. Don't small yourself for it. But especially this year. This year has stretched me a lot, and I've learned to, like, really thrive in myself. And I wish I knew those things earlier, but you live and you learn. That's probably one thing I could really say that, like, pushed me to do it.
I think what you said too about knowing that you're here for a reason. I think sometimes, at least I know that happens with Black people, where you get in your head and you think that, like, you're being given a chance.
Yeah.
Rather than you've earned something.
Yes.
And you could have it could be like a paid job, a promotion, you've earned it, but somehow mentally you've told yourself that someone's, like, taking a chance on you.
Yeah.
How do you kind of have, like, lose that mentality going forward with all that you've accomplished up until this point, that you go forward and be like, okay, this next thing I get, I'm earning it. It's mine. It's not because someone just took a chance on me, so to speak.
So, being a person of color, there's a lot of times where I'm, like, the only person of color in the spaces. But I've learned, I told myself this a lot this year, I'm not toning down sounds corny, my Blackness. Like, sometimes I'd be like, I want to talk a certain way. And I have to be like, no. Like, if I want to say something in patois for 2 seconds, I'm going to say it. Like, I do it sometimes, obviously, in reason, right? Now, if I'm talking to a CEO, I'm not going to do that, obviously. But if I want to say something in patois as a little joke, I'm going to do it. I'm cultured. We're all cultured. Why am I acting like I don't have that? It doesn't go away. I feel like I still do that from time to time. I still question why I'm here, why do I have this? But I just have to, like, you sometimes gotta just sink or swim. Like, doing this presentation, I'm nervous as balls right now. I'm just scared, sorry to cuss. But I'm nervous. I cuss a lot, sorry. And I say outlandish things, sorry. But I was nervous like hell, but I still have to do it. So it's a very, like, it's kind of a weird thing I like to do. I'm scared, but I'll still do it because I just have to. I'm not gonna tell myself no. And I think just being, like, a person of color, sometimes we forget, like, we earn it. But one thing, like, I had this stuff from when I was young from my brother. He always told me, like, you're gonna always have to work twice as hard because you're a woman and you're a Black woman. So I always told myself, well, you may not like me, you may not respect me, but my work is gonna talk. So when I go into a space, I do everything to the best of my abilities. I don't half-ass it. So whether you don't like me, you're gonna know that I'm working. I'm gonna work it then. If I'm not gonna be respected, I will work, because then I'm earning it. But it sucks that we have to feel that way, but sometimes you just gotta. I take, like, another thing I saw, like, in Kanye's doc, he said that all of his plights were what he used as his leverage. That stuck with me. It's like, okay, I'm a woman of color, cool. Then use your underestimate. If someone's underestimating you, it's even better. It's better to come in there low when people don't really know what you're about, and then just show out. Easiest way to do it. So, just, yeah.
I know it's not kosher right now to quote Kanye, but I think
Sorry.
But I think what you said is right. He has that line where he says, I can let the dream killers kill my self-esteem, but use my self-esteem to power my dreams. And
the references are probably not good.
But I think it's important to have that mindset. Like, Donald Glover said this as well before Community, that he was putting himself in a position where they couldn't say no to him.
Yeah.
And it was more like, I'm going to do so much, where it's like, if they say no, that they're crazy.
Yep.
And I think that it's almost like an overworking mentality that you have sometimes. Do you ever see, like, kind of you have trouble deciding what your goals are going to be next? Because I know, like, at least knowing you personally to some degree, it's like, I know you've done things that it's like, were kind of like, either you didn't know you were going to do it, or it just, you know what I mean? It just happened, or it's like, okay, now I'm doing this. So how do you set your goals for the future with that in mind? Because a lot of stuff that you even are doing now is like happenstance in a sense, you know? So how do you set goals with that in mind, that there may be things that you don't even know exist that could be happening in the future?
That's a good question. Not forcing it. That is a hard one for me to swallow. I want to do everything and everything sometimes, and not realizing, like, I can't do everything. have to learn this the hard way sometimes and say no. So not forcing it and timing. If it doesn't fit my time, or if I'm feeling too much of a, it's just not working, I'm not doing it. And also knowing my bandwidth. Like October just now, I had like 25 shows in 30 days at History. God bless. I don't even know how we made it through, but I wasn't taking on anything else. Like I told people, like, I can't do this. I'm not doing that. I have one day off from sleeping. Like, I learned a lot, and then COVID, I think, helped with that. Before COVID, I would take everything and anything. And I still kind of do it now, but I think COVID taught me, like, I don't need to do anything. I need to work smarter, not harder. And if I can't do it, it's okay. Don't push myself to the brink of breaking. I need to rest sometimes, because me being worn out or you wearing yourself down doesn't help anyone at the end of the day. Then you're no good to yourself. So
I think we should talk a little bit about the relationships and maneuvering before we finish off here.
Yeah.
You had a point about making the relationships real.
Yeah.
And I think that like this whole series is a part of that. Like me and you are like that.
Yeah, cool, I love you.
And I think like that's part of the industry, that the more you're in it, the more you realize.
Mm-hmm.
And like you learn it at some point, but the more you're in it, the more you realize. I was saying this earlier, Dalton, who was I think our second guest on this, you know, I texted him about the series, and the fact that I could even text him was like,
Facts.
you know, you think, okay, this, if I had to reach out to him cold, didn't know him, maybe a whole different idea. And he said yes before even kind of even understanding what he was saying yes to,
Awesome,
you know?
amazing.
And it's like, that's kind of what you want to build with people. So now that you realize that, you go about that, how do you go about building that with someone new, like completely new? They don't even know who you are. You have to kind of even explain to them what you do. How do you build with that person?
Don't force it. Don't force it. That person talks to you once. All right, cool. Don't be in the person's face. Don't force it. I treat it like new infants. Like when people have babies, I do this thing where I don't force myself on the baby. If the baby wants to come to me, the baby comes to me. You literally just don't force it. It's people don't like I don't like people forcing themselves on me. I'm not forcing myself on people. I'm polite. I'll still talk to you, and I'll let you warm up to me, and how you want to come to me is you come to me. Like even things that I do, sometimes I don't like. I didn't even tell a lot of people I was doing this, and then people are like, "Bro, you didn't tell me you were doing this." I'm like, "My bad." I know, but I don't even like telling people what I do sometimes, and that's even hard. But with that being said, it's like, just don't force it. Like if people ask me what I do, then I'll tell you. Or even when I'm managing artists, like it's a hard balance because I do still work in the industry. I can't be pushing my artists on somebody when I'm working in MLSE world, because it's a conflict of interest, right? So I have to even learn a balance. And with that, I even have to be like, they ask me, then cool, we talk. If not, I'm not pushing. Like, but don't force it, please don't. It gives cringe.
We're gonna have another quote here, and this is from actually Denzel Washington.
Okay, no yays?
No Kanye quotes. But Denzel said to act like you've been here and you're supposed to be here. Talking about being a celebrity or being famous. And I think in this industry it's the same thing. Once you get into the industry, kind of point where you're working, doing things that you want to do, you're so focused on getting into the industry that you forget that you're already in the industry. You know,
yes, right.
And to get comfortable in it, settle in. And I think the settle in part is what I always think about, is like, there's people who have been in this industry for decades. Like I think about NBA players like LeBron, who's been in the NBA longer than he's been out the NBA. So he's now settled into this NBA life compared to someone who's just got drafted and they're like all the bright lights. And that's something that I think is big in this industry. Do you have any advice like that you give to people who are not completely out, but they're not really in the industry yet? They're trying to find their way in. They know a couple of people. They have a couple of contacts, but they want to be entrenched. Like, do you have any information for that person?
I don't even feel like I'm in it that much either. I forget that I'd be like, oh yeah, I work in music. It's like you work in music, but you don't realize like you work in music.
You don't define yourself that way. It's just a part of who you are. Yeah.
It's weird. It's very weird. Like even you saying that right now, I'm like cringing. I'm like, sounds elitist. Like, but advice for someone trying to get in. Oh my gosh, you just gotta. I don't even like. We gotta work. Like it's the work. Like. There's no way around it. You just gotta work and build relationships. Like you were saying about Dalton. Like there's things that like have happened for me. Like I remember I got a job from someone who referred me to their friend who then got me a job somewhere, and he barely knew me when he got me the job. And I've been working with those people ever since. And me and that person are still cool, but it's just very weird. It's like you just have to build relationships and just be genuine and work hard. Your work gotta talk, and who you are. Like, if I say I'm gonna do something for someone, I try to do it. Like, I try to hold my word, because at the end of the day, people don't, like, you just gotta be who you say you are and be it every time. You can't waver on that. You can't waver
Be
on
who you
that.
say you are is good. This is a quote that someone told me probably 10 years ago now, which still stands. They said, all networking is working.
Facts.
And and that it blew my mind when they said that. I was like, there's no way that's true. Let me do the math. But at that time, I was doing a lot of videography, covering, you know, basketball, a lot of sports, and the networking I did really was working. I would be at this event, at this tournament, to shoot the game and get 2 or 3 business cards or meet so and so. But it was happening because I was there to work.
Yeah.
And I think about that line all the time of like, networking is working, because there is that group of people who are doing more networking than working.
Yep.
Someone who's like, you know, they're in that networking group, they want to make connections, but they haven't done as much, you know? They have one artist who has one single out, or whatever it is. How do you help that person who's like, they're doing a lot of networking, but their work isn't standing tall right now?
You just gotta, some of the girls I work with, like, bless their hearts, I love them, they always find themselves, like, they find jobs in those spaces. Whether it's like the most minuscule job, they put themselves in the room. Like, you want to be a bartender at a Live Nation venue, do it. Like, that's literally what I've heard, like, the girls that I work with do. Like, they'll be like, I want to work for this company. Who's hiring and what position? Okay, cool. I just need to get inside.
Just work for them, period.
Period. Because you can always, once you're in, you can always move around. You just need to get in. Like, that's the easiest way I can put it. I don't think there's, like, a lot of things are very simple now that I look back at it that I used to stress about. I get so angry because I used to be like, oh, this is so hard. And now I'm like, it wasn't really that hard. Even like networking now, it's like, I'll work with someone and they'll be like, hey, okay, cool. Like, take my number, we'll talk.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And it's just the easiest thing, but you don't even realize you're really even doing it. When you were like thinking about, like, I gotta go here, I gotta get 5 numbers, like, shit never worked out for me.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think I'm with you on that one too. Like, how I viewed networking to myself back in the day was so different than how I would view it now. And I probably would never use the word networking
I hate that
to talk
fucking
about
word.
myself now. So you're right in that sense. For anyone who's trying to get into music specifically, let's focus on music here, even though you do work in sports as well. You're trying to get involved with artists, whether it's to manage them or do music with them, but you yourself don't know them personally. How does someone approach that? You're a random, you don't have mutuals. You don't know this person. You want to be a part of their campaign, or you want to, you know, connect them to do a song. What's the way to approach someone cold when you really don't know them at all?
What are they missing and how can you fill that void? Simple. Like, it's that simple. You see that their social media is not the greatest and you are a social media guy, show them like, yo, if you're doing this and this, you can get these numbers. You need me. Like, why do they need you? Prove why they need you. A lot of artists will be like, I don't need management because I can do it myself. Like, a lot of my artist friends will be like, if I could do it myself, I'm not hiring managers. I'm not hiring a person if I could do it myself. So why am I paying this? If it's very, explain why they need you and what they're missing and how you can make it easy for them. Every job, try to make it easier for the person. Make everything easy. If you can make things easy, people will love you. If I need my house
Facts.
cleaned and you clean it and I don't have to even talk to you much, oh, bet. Come back and do it again. Like, make it easy. People don't want somebody around that they have to micromanage. I gotta talk to you 10 times. I gotta go over shit with you 5. No, I don't wanna do that. Like, literally make it easy. If you can make it easy and you can help them on something they're missing and they don't have to even do it and they can trust you with it, you're golden. It's, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that is important, because to give someone something they're missing, to be that, like, taking someone to the next level, I think that's priceless.
Exactly.
Really. Now you have some of your artists who are doing really big, doing good right now.
Layla's on road.
Yeah, I see Layla on road. I'm still waiting for that new pape. I'm still waiting for that new pape.
Oh, you gotta talk to Faith about that. So currently, like, going through a little bit of a transition myself with the team, but yeah, they're like, things are going very well. Everyone's working hard. Layla's on tour with Jessie Reyes. She opened it for
Yes.
her. I'm proud of her. Pape is studio head. I love him. I miss you guys.
Lives there.
Marky too, though. Don't sleep on Marky. Marky is one thing I like watch with Marky is if you give him any type of advice on anything, Marky will go and work on it, like literally the next day. If you tell him something he's not doing this properly, Marky will just be like, all right, I'm going to the studio today. I've been in the studio. You'll hear this. Like Marky's crazy. Like, I think I appreciate about all three of them is they grind their asses off. No one could tell me they don't grind their asses off, and they're talented, but they work just as hard as their talent. Like they're dedicated to it. Like this shit is something you can't stop doing. You gotta live that shit. Like you don't just do music on Saturdays.
Yeah, facts.
That shit don't stop. The phone don't stop ringing, and the shit don't stop. You gotta keep going. And the one thing about the three of them, they're gonna grind and they're gonna get that shit done regardless.
This is one of my last questions, but it's for the person who can't afford management. They don't have no team. There's no label behind them. And they want to drop a project to get them to that next level. What are like the one or two things? Again, they have maybe a baby budget for videos. They record in their crib. Like, what is like, the one or two things they could add to what they do to help their album get seen by more people?
Oh, that's good. I've heard this from a couple of my friends that do this themselves. They just learned how to. I have one friend that does the ads. And he said he just taught himself how to do it, like the Facebook ads.
Yeah.
It's fire. I've seen some of his stuff. It's actually really fire. But you guys gotta teach yourself. Like, look at Tory Lanez, perfect example. This man will shoot a video, edit a video, do his own production, put it out. Like, he literally taught himself everything. The man is God. I need to stop quoting these guys. Like, I'm quoting Ye and fucking.
Yeah.
Tory.
We're not. YouTube's gonna take us down.
I'm taking the good, not the bad.
YouTube, please leave us up.
Don't flag me. And don't cancel me. I can't get canceled anyways. But I don't agree with them. Like, no. But
But he learned to do everything himself.
But he taught himself everything. Like, it's crazy. Like, he taught himself everything. So you just gotta sit down and teach yourself. If it takes you, I had a friend who started music that way. He took 2 months off. Hi, Jib. He took 2 months off and he sat down. He just taught himself how to produce music. Like, he's taught himself. Like, sometimes people are not gonna sit and teach you. You gotta just do it yourself. Like, teach yourself.
Yeah, and I think too, like, I heard this a long time ago that when you're an artist, it's not always your job to sell the art. And I think, like, sorry to talk about them again, but the Kanyes of the world, the Donald Glovers, like, those artists who are good at selling their art as well, I think have changed the way we view it. As in, like, if you're creative enough to be an artist, you're creative enough to think of a marketing plan. And I think those two things don't go hand in hand, but the artists themselves usually doesn't know that until it's too late and they've done it a couple of times. Is there a quote that you have that you always kind of say to everyone, or that you have like something you say?
I'm gonna be like 10 today.
I know you have one that you say it pretty often.
I do.
I feel it.
A quote that I say often. Oh my gosh, now he put the camera on me. I feel bad. A quote that I say pretty often to people. I don't even know. Oh my gosh. It's like I'm giving you all of them today.
Nothing.
Be yourself.
Be yourself. Right.
I'm joking. What's something? Okay, well I'll give you something that like I try to remember also. With even just this lifestyle and this entertainment can like this whole like working entertainment can change people too. People get really weird once they get in. People get really you probably see it. It's just a very weird. People get weird.
Yes.
I always say I make promises to myself about who I want to be. I'm not gonna say my promises, obviously, but I make things to myself, promises of who I am, who I want to be, and I try to always center myself in them. It's very hard not to get jaded sometimes in this stuff. It's a very cutthroat place. People want to be where you're at sometimes, and also people are just very cutthroat. People will smile with you today and not fuck with you tomorrow. It's crazy, but it's the truth. And then people don't talk about it a lot, but it's really crazy outside. But you gotta ground yourself. Like, it's probably the best thing I can tell you, just ground yourself. But just remember like who you are and ground yourself in that, and don't change it. It's very hard. Like I deal with that a lot. Sometimes I just don't want to be I don't want to be nice. I don't want to talk to nobody. Like, but I have to remember like that's what makes me me. So I can't defer from that, because then those people win, right? So you just gotta be yourself, but ground yourself. When you feel like you're losing it, ground it.
Yeah, I think that's important to remember. Like, stay yourself as much as you can, as long as you can.
Yeah.
Because I've had the pleasure of so much people I've met in the industry. I've met kind of outside of the industry. Like, I worked with them somewhere else, or I met them through a friend, and find out later, oh, you manage so and so, oh, you produce, and so my view of them and our relationship was not industry dependent, and we were able to kind of be ourselves because, we were friends on a whole different platform.
Exactly.
And I think that carries over into the industry. And you don't want to be the one not being yourself. You rather that be someone else. I want to ask you some nots, because we've asked you like what to do, and I realized like you probably have a lot of things on what not to do. Like,
want the list?
Let's go back to the last question about the independent artists. They got no manager, no label. They're working. I don't want to say minimum wage. Let's give them some credit. They're making $1 more than minimum wage.
Do you see outside? The groceries are not cheap.
No inflation. So that person who's doing it on their own, no team, no label. They got one friend that rocks with them and their girlfriend that's supportive. What are something that they shouldn't do? Like, absolutely should not do.
Well, one, they have a team. You got your girlfriend, you got your friend.
True.
Right there.
True. That's three is a team.
That's a team. Someone can help you do something. Someone can hold a camera. Someone can shoot it on their iPhone. Not to do? Don't. I'm like.
You don't have to be nice.
I know. I'm trying to think of like, what's the way to say this?
Name names.
No. Hell no. Not to do. Oh my gosh. The clout chasing. Please. I'm begging. Oh my gosh. I'm begging. Some of y'all will do some things that just for social media, like just very clout chaser-ish. It's crazy to get put on. Your bro. Like, oh my gosh.
What are some things they're doing? Like, what are some examples of clout chasing things?
It's just very like just doing what's cool for the hype and what's cool for now. Like, I'm keeping it very
inauthentic is what you're trying to say.
Yes, very. Just very like everyone on social media is doing something, you're gonna do it too. Things are just, we can tell it's not you. It's just crazy outside.
I think about that a lot when it comes to someone like Drake. I know when Drake first came out in 2009, 2010, there was all these artists who were bigger than he was, and so how they interacted with Drake was very different than how they interact with Drake now.
Of course.
And to think about, that's kind of how you got to look at yourself in the industry. This person who you look up to one day, they are supposed to be your peer at one moment, or this person who is way too small for you to talk to, they may be the artist that you're dying to get a feature with 3, 4, 5 years from now. And so I think that even when you're doing stuff that are clout chasey, to have that in mind. You may think no one's watching you, and then the second you blow up, they remember you. Oh, you're the dude who was clout chasing. So
I hate even using that term. Fuck.
Look at clout chasing, networking.
I hate talking like that.
We need other terms.
Yeah, please. There's 2023. Can we change it?
Yeah, there's no better term for that. I think that's a good place to end it. Telling them what not to do. I want to thank everyone for, following us on the stream. Everyone on Instagram who put their comments and questions in. Everyone here in person, and anyone who's listening and watching this later. Of course, until next time, bring back bullying. Cancel.
Oh my gosh! Sorry.
Bring back bullying. Cancel canceling. Know yourself. Know your worth.
No way. Bye, guys. Take care.